Samsung's new Passport-style foldable is priced at a whopping $1,900, which coincidentally is about the same price as getting a real passport and buying a round-trip ticket to anywhere you want to go in the world. You could either touch dirt on another continent or, get the latest and greatest social media scrolling machine ever invented. Decisions. Immediately, I can see why everyone loves this thing. 5.5 inches is really the perfect size. Inside the box, we get a SIM card removal tool and one single USB-C charging cable. It's finally time to see how Samsung's lightest fold ever weathers my jerry-rig-everything durability test. Right off the bat, though, we are not off to a great start, since even with its new titanium screen, we get the same laundry list of warnings as the previous 8 generations of folding phones. Like don't press on the inner screen with your fingernails, don't fold the phone with anything inside, the phone is not dust resistant, don't let it get immersed in salt water, and don't remove the inner protective screen. And lastly, keep it away from implanted medical devices. RIP to whoever's grandma learned that one the hard way. The cool thing about having a wider screen is that now there's even more room to run multiple apps at the same time. Up to 3, actually. A ménage à trois for your apps. Ménage à twap. Sorry. When the exterior screen is flat on its back, it's about as stable as Bitcoin. And its 10:16 aspect ratio would probably make it Christopher Nolan's favorite smartphone, if he ever used one. Nolan says he would be too addicted to a smartphone if he ever used one, and he's definitely not wrong. Someone needs to take one for the team and see if getting rid of your smartphone really does bring happiness. Until then, though, the exterior screen is made with Gorilla Glass Ceramic 3 and scratches at a level 6 with deeper grooves at a level 7. Incredibly, the average American checks their phone 200 times a day. And if for even half of those glances you pop open into the center screen, on paper it theoretically would last about a decade, since it's already been tested to 500,000 folds in a laboratory. As long as, of course, the inner screen doesn't come in contact with anything harder than your fingernail, since Samsung's flexible folding screens still scratch at a level 2. And spoiler alert, Apple will probably have the same issue with their folding screen when it drops. You can hit that subscribe button to see how right I am here in a few months. Supposedly there is a titanium substrate underneath these pixels, but that doesn't change the fact that the permanent plastic layer on top is still plastic. As you can see, the Fold 8 receives damage through coins, keys, and even grappling hooks. Luckily, Samsung does offer one free inner screen protector replacement within the first 12 months, and subsequent plastic layer replacements only cost $19. So the marks on the inner screen aren't as bad as they look from a financial perspective. But since the phone does cost more than my first car, protection is still always a good thing. My channel sponsor Dbrand says their foolproof prism screen protector is foolproof, and there's 2 in the box for good measure. As you can see, my Fold 8 has some dust on the glass, so I'll use the wet wipe to clean the screen. And the applicator positions the layer of glass protection right over the screen, and with one pull, one stroke, the glass is installed perfectly. My $2,000 phone just got protection in 2 seconds, and it's real glass. Link is down in the description. Now, even though Samsung used the buzzword titanium for the inner flexible screen for no reason, here on the outside frame, it's most definitely still armor aluminum. The fingerprint scanning power button is not removable, but the metal volume rocker most definitely still is. Pretty typical for Samsung to have the buttons be removable. I'll just pop that back into place. Making our way to the top edge, we can see 2 noise-canceling microphones and the loudspeaker, as well as our SIM card tray, which does not have expandable memory, but does have a gray rubber ring to assist with the IP48 water resistance rating, which is good to know. We'll test that dust protection here in a second. Down at the bottom, we have our second stereo loudspeaker and 45-watt USB-C 3.2 port. The 10-megapixel front-facing inner screen selfie camera is protected by that same plastic layer as the rest of the inner screen, so careful with that. It is a hole punch camera and not a hidden camera like it was on the Fold 3, 4, 5, and 6. The exterior selfie camera is also 10 megapixels and not hidden, but it is protected with glass. Making our way to the back, we see our 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera up top and 50-megapixel main camera right below that, sitting on a plastic plateau. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, is a first for Samsung. Usually this plateau is made from metal. The back panel is still made from glass. Coming back up to the camera lenses, seeing plastic on a folding phone is kinda wild. The little ring surrounding the camera lenses is still made from metal and is actually pretty easy to leverage off. It for sure won't be falling off on its own, but it is good to know that if you ever crack your camera lens, it's very easy to replace the whole thing. The only thing I would worry about with lens replacements though is if the seal was still tight, since any dust getting down inside of that camera unit would kill the optical image stabilization and possibly leave artifacts in the camera images. You know how it is. Historically, the outdoors has been a pretty dirty place, and one might say that there is actually a lot of dirt everywhere outside. This year, Samsung says their new Fold8 hinge is wider, thinner, and flatter, and when combined with that titanium substructure, which we will hopefully see busted open in a second, it makes the screen crease less visible. Dust-wise though, it seems to keep out the nitty-gritty gunk just as well as last year's, so I'm not too worried about it. I can even see some of the metallic dust collecting on the magnets in the corners. One big improvement that I haven't seen anyone talking about though is the fingerprint scanner. This time around, you're not just capacitively taking pictures of your finger. You roll your finger around on the button to get it scanned. And then, even with heavy abuse on the button itself, it's literally the fastest response time of any fingerprint scanner I've ever seen. Genuinely impressive, so thumbs up for that. The 7.6-inch titanium flex display has 3000 nits of peak brightness and 120 Hz refresh rate. It starts permanently burning after about 7 seconds from my lighter. The titanium doesn't appear to help all that much with heat either, so hopefully it's much cooler on the inside. The exterior 5.5-inch 120 Hz 428 pixel per inch display on the outside lasted a tad longer at about 10 seconds, probably since the glass helps distribute the heat, but then went permanently black and green without recovering. Finally, the bin test. When closed, this passport-style foldable has hardly any flex, not when bent from the front nor the back, which means this wallet-sized phone could easily be a back pocket device and still survive being sat on, as long as the phone is closed anyway. When the phone is open, well, it's just a burden I have to bear, pushing these premium devices to their absolute limits. We've never had a folding Samsung phone fail, except for the trifold, but that was an anomaly. And I think seeing devices that might at first appear fragile come through the other side of my test still in one piece instills a lot of confidence in potential purchasers. And I hope for this Fold8's sake that he, makes it. The time has come. Dag-nabbit. While there is a substantial amount of rearward flex, the widened Fold8 smartphone survives my durability test. No cracks at the antenna lines like we saw on the Pixel Fold, and no popping out of the screen like we saw on Motorola's folding phone. The glass back panel even pops off the back of the phone body before any damage happens to that soft center screen. Kinda mind-blowing. I don't know what Thanos-level mithril uru Samsung used to make their folding phones with, but the new wider Fold8 is yet another rather impressive survivor. Of course, if you want your new device to be blemish-free and keep the resale value high, might I recommend dbrand's grip case. With its magnetical hinge protector, every angle of the fold stays completely protected whether it's open or closed. And with 40 different skins to choose from, like this real leather, your premium phone can feel as premium as a leather wallet. Link is down in the description. And of course, I'll have my teardown skin available soon, so stick around for that video. And thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.